You've waited all summer, and it's finally here. High school football is back in action. Join Brian Samudio, Alex Margulies, Dan Gustin, and Mike Rippey for the inside scoop on the year ahead. The players you want to watch and the teams you don't want to miss. Nolan Auto Group's Countdown to Kickoff, presented by Sonic, America's Drive-In, starts right now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Damani Ranch High School, home of the Mustangs, the 4A Northern champions from last year. This is the Dolan Auto Group's Countdown to Kickoff show, brought to you by Sonic. Welcome to the field, guys. Alex Margulies, the legend Dan Gustin. I'm Brian Samudio. For the next hour, over the next 2 weeks, we are going to preview the High Desert League tonight, the Sierra League next week. First off, fellas, nice to be back on the field, right?
It sure is. I mean, we always talk about this. We get to this point in the season, and it's like, where did the summer go? And we're back. It's football season. And I tell you what, I feel like this year, with all the different changes that have occurred in the offseason, I feel like there's more parity this year, and there's more unknowns at who's going to be the top dog and who's going to be kind of competing, who's going to come out of nowhere. I think this is the most compelling season we've had in a long time.
It is. There may be one or two favorites, but they're slightly favorites. Damani Ranch, who we're here now, they lost their entire offensive line except their center, and he was undersized at 175 pounds. With all the changes and all the things we have to talk about, I think you're going to find it very interesting, because teams are going to want to know, is it going to be their offense or defense? I don't see anybody out there that has dominant on both sides of the ball.
Either way, for the next hour, we're going to take you through the High Desert League, and let's start off with the team that is predominantly the team that dominates that league, and that's the Reed Raiders. 11-2 last season, but they lose their head coach, Ernie Howren, to Bishop Manogue High School. Tony Amantia, who is a former Damani Ranch and Wooster head coach, comes in to take over there. Here are the Reed Raiders.
All right, Coach, you took over the program in February, now leading up to the season. What's it been like?
That's been great. Great group of kids, got a great work ethic. Tremendously proud of how they finished school. We had like 47 guys get over a 3.0 on our varsity, and just real excited to be here.
What kind of blueprint and what kind of fingerprints are you trying to put on the program yourself?
Myself, I look at how I've always done things. It's always been about overachieving and playing hard. I learned that up in Nevada 27 years ago, and it's still with me today. A little different landscape on how you go about doing things. I'm a little bit older, but we're still going to try to play hard on every snap and be fundamentally sound, tackle and block.
Never easy to go through a coaching change and to lose someone like Coach Howren, but when you replace him with someone that has the experience like Coach, does that help this transition at all?
Oh, it definitely helps. I mean, Coach Howren's one of the smartest guys that knows football, and he said the exact same thing about Amantia. He talked to me after the coaching change, and he said you're going to be more than happy with him. He's super smart, and coming from Coach Howren, that's huge.
Now finish! Good, good, good!
Oh, he's a smart guy. He's been out here comforting us, telling us nothing's going to change much, just a new coach, new system, still going to get the job done.
How badly do you think this group wants to prove that they have been good the last few years and that they can continue to do that even if there is a coaching change?
Oh, I think that's kind of like their whole deal. You know, they got a chip on their shoulder, and they're ready to take on everyone's A game and every Friday night. So that's what we got to get them prepared for.
We want to prove all the haters wrong. Coaching means nothing. We still got the same team we've always had. Still a tight-knit group. How's the chemistry to get the job done still?
We really want to prove that. I mean, we know that we're not going anywhere. All that's happened hasn't changed anything. We're coming out here with the same mindset, same goals. We're fired up. We're ready to go get it.
Where do you see the strengths of this football team?
You know, I think we got a lot of depth. I think we have depth across the board, and you know, I don't know if there's any one group stands out. I just think there's a lot of solid depth on both sides of the ball, and we're going to be able to pretty much platoon for the majority of a game. You know, with a few guys playing both ways here and there, but majority of the time we're going to be platoon, and that's going to be a strength for us.
Emerson will keep it on the fake the pussy. He will get in. Big run by Emerson.
Everywhere. Our defense is going to be one of the best in the North, and our offense, we're still learning the new system, but we're going to be just as strong.
What does it mean to you to play for this program and be a Reed Raider?
It means everything. My whole family came up through Reed, and just to carry that on and say that I'll be a Reed alumni when I graduate here is awesome, and hopefully I can bring my family through here as well.
How exciting is it to take over a program like Reed that has a winning tradition? I mean, winning the North 5 years in a row, and a lot of kids in this program that have been a part of teams like that.
Sure. Winning breeds winning. There's obviously an understanding of what the work that's involved to get to those accomplishments. And, the thing is that this whole community understands what this thing is about. And there's big expectations, and we're going to do everything we can to keep those expectations rolling.
Coaches may change, but the expectations at Reed High School, Dan, certainly do not.
No, they don't. They have 60 guys out. They have some veterans on the offensive side of it. Cameron Emerson, the quarterback. Eric Schmidt, great running back. The skilled people are still a little untested, but they have some good things. When you talk about Ernie Howren, his 15 years there, he was more offensive minded than anything. The new coach, Tony Amantia, is defensive minded. He's going to be defensive coordinator. I think that helps them a lot.
Well, and there's no doubt that these kids want to prove, as you heard there, that this Reed program, which has been a powerhouse for years, can stay a powerhouse despite the coaching change. I think they're really confident that they've got a lot of really good pieces that they can get back on the map. And I can guarantee you there's a lot of kids in that locker room that are upset over what happened here at Demonte Ranch last year, that this Mustangs team was able to end their streak. Maybe they start a new streak this year.
And Reed doing what they normally do, and that's challenge themselves out of the blocks. They're opening at home against Clayton Valley. That's out of Concord, California. Then they're at Oak Ridge, Northern California in week 4 at Bishop Manogue, September 22nd.
A game that we will be covering on Friday Night Rivals. Yep.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? I mean, we've seen the drama this offseason with Ernie Howren moving to Bishop Manogue, but what about the man that's replacing him at Reed High School? Let's introduce you to Tony Amantia.
Did you work back to depth to see that crosser coming from over here? Okay.
Why did you want to come back and be a high school football coach again?
I think it's about the kids and about I still got time on the clock. I'm still moving around pretty good for my age. I just this past week, man, I had to go get a prescription for glasses full time. I know I'm getting older and some things aren't going to be as easy for me as they used to be, but I want to give back, and I'm still going to be in this district and teaching and stuff. So I think this is a good fit for me.
What about this Reed opportunity was intriguing to you?
I kind of, you could look at it two ways. You go like, why would you want to follow that? Or you could look at it like a challenge, and I just looked at it like a challenge, like I did when I followed Joe Sellers years ago at Wooster High School, and they said, all right, let's see what happens. Let's see if we can make this thing go.
What did you learn from replacing a guy like Joe Sellers when you did that last time around, and how does that help you maybe with this transition?
You know what? There's the way I look at things, I don't try to flip things upside down. I didn't do that at Wooster. I try to look at what's going, that's good, keep that rolling, and then, where can I add some things that might help the situation out? And that's kind of how I've always looked at it. I haven't tried to create a whole bunch of change for these kids. I try to keep everything within the system because they know what they're doing, and they've obviously proven that in the past. So for me, it was more about me understanding what they already are doing well and how we can add to that.
Dan, one of the things you get with Tony Amantia is pretty much everything you see on the plate. He is a hard-nosed, blue-collar sort of guy. He was a middle linebacker in college, and that's the way I think he's going to coach his team.
He runs his life that way, and exactly. That's what he's going to do. That's why he wants to be defensive coordinator. He wants to get in the thick of things, in the middle of it, and I think it's the best place for him to be.
Yeah, and I think it's a great choice for Reed, too, because you bring in a guy that's a veteran coach. I think with the success they've had and the types of kids and the way their program has been established, you don't really want to hand the reins to a new coach. You get a veteran, a guy that knows the area. Certainly, you mentioned the fact, former Wolfpack player, so I think a lot of the kids respect that. And it's going to be exciting to see what they can do.
Yeah, the cupboard is not full over at Reed, but it's certainly not empty by any stretch of the means. Coming up next on Countdown to Kickoff, brought to you by the Dolan Auto Group and our friends over at Sonic. We're going to head back up to the Northwest. That storied tradition program of the McQueen Lancers is next. Welcome back to the Dolan Auto Group's Countdown to Kickoff preview show presented by Sonic. We're doing the High Desert Week this week. This is the 4A division here in the north. And, you know, when you talk about 4A football in the north, you can't not talk about the McQueen Lancers.
No, they've got a rich tradition. Obviously have won state championships. They were the last team in the north to win a state championship. And I think their program's on the rebuild this year. They have 78 guys out for the varsity. They have 84 for freshmen. Now, that is a real good sign. They also have a transfer running back in, CD2KO, who is out of Oklahoma, who is the nephew of DeMarco Murray. So they've got a running game they've got a straightforward game with McIntyre, and they've got this young kid, Kolb, who is, you know, he can slice and dice and get to the outside and get around the corner. Their quarterback is Dominic Stallworth. Great name in Northern Nevada. He can throw the ball. So I think they've got the ingredients this year. They've got 3 tight ends, 6'3" and above, 6'3" to 6'5". They've got defensive linemen. They've got all the elements this year that they haven't had in the past to have a darn good team.
Here's Jim Snelling and the McQueen Lancers.
9 years ago, the McQueen Lancers were celebrating a Nevada State Championship.
Well, you know, our goals haven't changed.
To this date, they would be the last team in Northern Nevada to accomplish that feat in football.
Last year, we struggled a little bit to run the ball. This year, I think it's going to be a little bit different story.
Jim Snelling has been at McQueen High School for 20 years, 9 as a head coach. He believes this could be the season.
I think we're going to be strong on all 3 levels, and I like what I see as far as the kids coming up. And you know, I like the continuity with our coaching staff. We've got a lot of former Lancers that were part of those championship teams that are now coaching for us, and so we're excited to get going.
With 27 seniors and 8 starters coming back this fall, it's hard to not feel the hype in Northwest Reno.
Yeah, we're just really excited, man. We got a lot of talent this year, a lot of returning seniors that lead really well. We got a brotherhood going really good. Everyone meshes pretty well, and we're just excited to get going.
What's it mean to wear McQueen across your chest?
Wearing McQueen across your chest is very real for me. You know, growing up, watching all the older kids play, that's all you wanted ever to do. Just want to go out here and play.
Oh, it's exciting, man. Just the numbers up there and just all the history here. I want to leave this school with something to remember. So I just want to give everything I got with my senior year. This could be it for me, so just more than excited.
The Lancers also picked up a few key transfers over the summer.
It's great when you get some kids in that move into the area that have the skill set and come from successful programs. It's great to coach's kids as well. And both these guys are members of the Nevada staff that brought their kids over here. Both skill guys. One's a running back and one's a defensive back. And so far this early, they look great. We're excited about having them with us.
By kickoff this fall, McQueen hopes to be locked in.
The bottom line is that we need to be men of action. You know, we can't talk about doing the job. We got to make sure that we're doing the job. And so we have a few mottos. Iron sharpens iron. You know, the biggest thing is that we've got to be hard workers, and we can't let down the guy next to us.
You know, guys, a team that went 3-7 last year, I think with all these new pieces coming in, you'd have to expect more than that. And a team that can get into the playoffs, maybe make some noise. Maybe this is the year McQueen gets back on the map.
They open up against Lassen of California, and then they host Bishop Minogue in week 2. Coming up next on Countdown to Kickoff, one of the oldest high schools in Northern Nevada, if not the state. We'll check out the Reno Huskies next. Welcome back to the Dolan Auto Group's Countdown to Kickoff, presented by Sonic. High Desert Week this week, and we're moving on with the Reno Huskies. Here they are.
Clayton will run that way and throw upfield. Again, he's got a wide receiver open, getting beyond the defense. And another long score for the Reno Huskies.
Man, how good does it feel just to get back out here with the guys?
We never left, so it doesn't feel any different, Brian. You know, the only thing that changes is the season, the smell. It's that time of year, and you know, everybody's excited.
It feels great just coming back out, really out of shape over the summer. So coming back to getting back in shape, feels good being back with my brothers on the team, on the field. Haven't seen them for a while, so feels good.
Rolls right, wants to throw back over the middle. Does, wide open, got a receiver. Wow, nothing but green grass in front.
What do you have to be a Reno Husky?
The biggest thing, we have three main sayings. We have unity, integrity, and trust, and it makes up what we call the outwork triangle. So it basically just means that we're good people on and off the field, and we're always grinding no matter what.
What are you going to need to do to win?
Well, I think the biggest strength is our coaching unity. The guys I've been with that don't get enough recognition, Coach Sellers and Coach Worthen, two fantastic individuals. And then you go to our team itself. I think the biggest strength that we hope to have is a lot of team chemistry. I know sometimes that goes overrated. People want to hear about all the studs, and we do have a couple this year, but we hope to be a true team this year.
What's it like playing for Coach Avancino?
He's an intense guy, but he always keeps us in check. He's a really good guy. Once you get to know him, he's the sweetest guy ever.
Sweetest guy ever.
I would say so.
He's an angry guy a lot, but it gets us prepared for life. He's a very good coach, helps you on the field and off the field as much as he can, and he's always there for you if you need help.
You know, he's a little archaic and he's a little angry all the time, but I think it's good for us, especially we always focus on discipline. He works on that a lot with us, and he always says discipline is one of the most important things that we can have on this team, and I think that's really helpful not only for football but for life after that. So it's working out well for us so far.
I mean, this was a team that, you know, was ready to contend for a championship at the end of the year. How much of that momentum do you think is carried over?
Every year is different. We hope that our momentum is a cultural momentum, meaning that we believe, and in the last couple of years, we've kind of been in the same spot, right there next to that final game, and we don't want to hear about being close this year. We want to try to get there, but we know it's a game-by-game process. A lot can happen in a year. So we're focused really on today, and that's all we control.
So the Huskies 10-2 last season, maybe the quietest 10-2 season I've ever seen, lost here to Monty Ranch in the 4A Northern semifinals.
Yeah, this team's always rock solid, aren't they? And I mean, they're well coached. They have such an inventive game plan week to week, and I know it can be frustrating for a broadcaster trying to figure out what Dan Avancino is going to do. I imagine the opposition feels much the same way, but you know for a fact when you are going to go to a Reno Huskies game or watch that game on TV, it's going to be interesting because you don't know what you're going to get.
You know you're going to get running the ball from tackle to tackle because they have two talented backs, Cajo and Fanau, and they're going to pound it at you. Fanau's 240 pounds, Cajo is 220, 25 pounds. Sawyer Jackson can throw the ball. Desiderio is a good receiver, but when it comes to the Reno Huskies, they're going to run it.
Coming up next on Countdown to Kickoff, we will introduce you to the young man who's already committed to BYU, but he's got an offer in his pocket from Alabama. The story of Brandon Cajo is next. Welcome back to the Dillon Auto Group's Countdown to Kickoff presented by Sonic. Now, we'll get into our individual previews this week right now. This young man has come out of nowhere. Granted, he was a star last year, but the offers for Brandon Cajo have just started flowing in.
Yeah, once committed to BYU, he's kind of opened it up a little bit, and he has seen offers flood in from all over the country, including from Nick Saban at Alabama. Brennan Green caught up with the star at Reno High School and has more.
Alone in the shotgun, got a couple blockers in front, and guess what? He follows them right into the end zone.
How many positions are you playing this year?
I'll be playing the same position as last year. Running back, linebacker, kicker, punter, quarterback too. Every once in a while, not too much, hopefully.
Reno High's jack of all trades is back. Senior Brandon Cajo exploded onto the national scene this summer, garnering not one but 2 All-American Bowl game invitations and receiving linebacker scholarship offers from pretty much the entire Pac-12 conference and Alabama.
It was crazy. It was definitely a great experience, but definitely a humbling experience as well. So, attention's cool and stuff, but coming back here with my teammates is awesome.
You look like there were white shirts coming up to meet him, and all of a sudden he just slides off. Aikens had a hand on him, but not much.
You're not going to bring him down by a fingertip.
Of course, with all that national attention comes pressure, and he says being back on his home field helps him put that in the back of his mind.
Definitely, it's an escape from social media and from all that rowdiness. Just coming here with my teammates that I call my brothers, and these coaches are like father figures to me. So it's great just to come and feel like home here.
Speaking of home, this season will be the last time Cajo will don the red and blue. He says he'll remember his time as a Husky fondly.
The Reno High football program I think is very special to me. It's more about life than it is about football with these coaches, so that's a big thing for me.
And Brandon's teammates will certainly remember their time with him fondly as well.
Brandon's a good kid. He's always there for you if you ever need help. You can always count on him to come out, work hard every day in and out.
He's really humble. He doesn't really boast about anything. He's a great player. He knows the game. He's a leader for our team. Everyone looks up to him. Well, there's a lot of reasons, too. He's getting a lot of attention.
He's one of the most humble people I've ever met. He rarely ever talks about it. He always picks up everyone else on the field. He's probably one of the best players that I've ever met, physically and mentally.
What a play he makes. We talk about plays of the game. He shed the blocker, fell down, got up, and still made the tackle.
As for his future destination, he says for right now, that will have to wait.
I'll be making my decision after football season sometime. I just want to put it aside for now and just focus on the season with my brothers.
You know what I've seen of this young man, very, very humble, very quiet. And, it's interesting now to see how many big universities are now recruiting Northern Nevada.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody in Northern Nevada that highly recruited. Mm-hmm. You mentioned a lot of schools, Alex, Stanford, Notre Dame, you can go on down the list. He is a player. I think he'll end up on the defensive side of the ball where he probably fits better than the offensive side. But there's nobody in my recollection that I can remember being this highly recruited, and he is really a catch.
Dan, we appreciate your time this week. Dan's going to take off. We're going to bring Mike Rippey in, the longtime at Northern Nevada high school football coach and pretty big personality. We're going to bring him in next. We'll have much more coming up. Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff, brought to you by the Dolan Auto Group and presented by Sonic. Longtime Northern Nevada high school football coach of the Douglas Tigers, Mike Rippey, joining us here for our final few segments. Coach, I appreciate being with us. What's it like for you to be in the booth in some of these games?
It's a lot different. Sometimes I want to give my opinion a little too much, but I love this time of year. I love high school football, and it's played very well here in Northern Nevada, and really excited to be a part of it still.
Switching away from our team previews for just a moment, Dan Gustin caught up with Donnie Nelson from the governing body of the state of Nevada, the NIAA. Here's that report.
Welcome to the historic Hawkins House, home of the NIAA.
Let's go inside and find out more about the NIAA. Well, one of the organizations that a lot of people in Northern Nevada have heard about but don't know a lot about is the NIAA. So we thought maybe we'd clear that up a little bit with talking to the associate director, a guy who's been around here a long time, just about 20 years, and knows the association very well, Donnie Nelson. Donnie, thanks for joining us first of all, and tell us a little bit about it. First of all, you're a nonprofit organization.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gustin. Proud to have you here in our building, the NIAA office, here at the Hawkins House, a historical landmark. The Nevada Interscholastic Activities Association is the 501c3 nonprofit governing body of high school athletics and activities in the Silver State. Basically, there are 51 state associations across the country. We all follow under the National Federation of State High School Associations umbrella. So we are that group. We oversee all aspects of high school athletics and activities, primarily sports, in the Silver State. We talk about eligibility rules, transfer rules. We govern different parts of academics, special programs for our student athletes, for our coaches, for our officials. We always see everything that governs high school sports in Nevada.
You know, and you talk about the organization governing everything. You came here 19 and a half years ago, and you've seen it grow exponentially, because when you came, 82 schools, and now you supervise 217?
Yeah, we are at 117 member schools now. Yeah, it started out as 82 when I started here in the spring of 1998. Drastic growth, and we're in a beautiful building here now as our office, where we used to be in some other locations, but primarily the membership has grown by leaps and bounds. I would say back when I started, we were probably 80% public schools, so the real growth has been in private schools, and particularly now through the stretch we're going through is charter schools. And I expect a big increase in our membership over the next 5 to 10 years as well, as Washoe County, Clark County will finally begin to build high schools again in the public system, but the influx of private, small private, and charter schools are what's really jumping our association's membership.
And I think people need to know, we said nonprofit, you explained that thoroughly. You're not a member of the Washoe County School District, you're not a member of a state organization somehow, although you're regulated by the state, NRS, under their revised statutes, and you're not a part of Clark County, so you're an independent organization.
Yeah, it's a very unique dynamic. We do not receive any direct state funding. We have 3 main revenue sources, and those are: 1, our member schools' dues. So we do have schools that pay fees to be part of our association. It is a membership-based organization. The second one is our postseason ticket sales. We do not collect any fees from our schools when they host games from all the different sports and collect revenues. That's how they fund their budgets in the athletic departments, but we collect the region and state championship games. And then the biggest thing for us is our corporate sponsorships, is our marketing. We are in desperate need all the time of corporate partners to help us put on events, first-class events, whether it be tournaments at excellent facilities, paying for staffs, paying for officials, paying for what have you in our member school, and our benefits for our student athletes and our coaches and our officials. But those are the 3 big sources. It is strange because our rules and regulations are state bylaws. They're Nevada administrative codes. But again, we're an independent organization that's put together by the school districts. So the superintendents are the ones that have created this dynamic.
Donnie, understand that. We run out of time, obviously, but there's so much to talk about. And marketing is extremely important. If you want to know more about the NIAA, go to their website, NIAA.com. But I hope you got an idea of why this situation is set up the way it is and what they do to govern high school sports. Thanks to Donnie Nelson.
Coming up next on Countdown to Kickoff, our team previews continue as we head out north to Spanish Springs High School to take on the Cougars. Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff here at Demonte Ranch High School. You know, it was a down year by their standards at Spanish Springs High School. Just a record of 5-5 for Eric Borja's team, but they are back for more in 2017. Here are the Cougars.
It's been a lot of hard work. We're grinding away down here in the summer camp, getting better day by day.
It's kind of like the NFL. You never know what's going to happen week to week, and you got to bring it. Otherwise, you're going to go home sad.
For Spanish Springs, the 2017 campaign couldn't come soon enough.
We've been prepping since the season ended, you know what I mean? And so we're doing everything we can right now, getting all of our offense and defensive terminology and lingo and all that good stuff in, and getting ready for the real season really to start.
The Cougars hit the road this summer and attended a football camp at Boise State.
Oh, it was phenomenal. Great to go up against someone else, get pads on in the summer, get some good reps against looks we haven't seen before.
You know what, more than anything, it's a chance for us to get out of their own bedrooms and out of this area and go as a team, as a group up to a college campus and experience a very good staff and great competition up at Boise. And it helps us grow as a team, no question, and it helps our coaching staff too find what we need to work on and improve in the summer to get ready for our season.
Now Springs looks towards their season opener, trying to lay to rest a 5-5 season that saw an early exit at the hands of Douglas in the playoffs.
What do you want people to know when they hear Spanish Springs football?
We're coming for them this year. It's going to be a big year for us. Going after a league championship, we're not backing down from any challenge.
Oh, I'm ready. I've been ready since last year ended, so we're ready to go out there.
For Coach Borjas, this is the first senior class that he's coached since freshman year, and this Cougars team has some bite.
You know what? It's going to be a game. You got to bring your game to play us every week. We're a team now that I think you have to play us, and it's not a gimme game. It's a game that you're going to have to compete against us and prep for, and that's kind of what we want. We want to be a very competitive football team every Friday night, every Saturday, whenever. And that's kind of the program that we've put out here now at Spanish Springs.
All weights away. Weight down. Rack them up.
Cougars challenging themselves out of state. Week 1, they're going to be playing Rocky Mountain in Meridian, Idaho, and then week 2 they host Foothill out of California. It's out of Palo Cedro. It's Shasta County up north. But what do we think the Cougars are going to do?
Well, I thought they were going to have a great year last year, and I know it didn't turn out the way they wanted. They lost their quarterback. He was first team High Desert League, and so they got some rebuilding to do, but I continue to say it year after year, they're the sleeping giant. They've always got good turnout. They've always got some good athletes there. It's just a matter of when are they going to step up and win that big game that they need to do.
Yeah, good point. Losing Corbin Markham, I think, is going to be an adjustment for them, but how does the impact of Ernie Howard leaving Reed, and does Reed continue to be the power that we've talked to them about, and is this maybe open up an opportunity for Spanish Springs? You talk about how wide of an area they draw from. They've always kind of been knocking on the door. Is this year the opportunity that they can kind of seize and maybe get past Reed at some point? Is this the year? Maybe it is.
See if the Cougars can move up in that league. Coming up next on Countdown to Kickoff, they're coached by a former Wolfpack football star in North Reno. We check in with the Hug Hawks next. Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff, brought to you by the Dolan Auto Group and presented by Sonic. They play in North Reno and they play hard every single week, coached by a former Wolfpack football star, the Hug Hawks. Here's their preview.
Coach, tell me how much work this team has put in going into the regular season.
They've put in a lot of work. They've been here, you know, doing what they had to do, being here every day, staying after, getting extra work in, and, you know, they've done a good job this summer.
We've been putting in a lot of work, honestly. Like, we've been working very harder than last year, the year before that. I feel like me as myself, I've been working harder. I've been getting more disciplined, more active, because I didn't used to take it that serious back then, but now it's like, it's something I actually got to take to heart.
After the mental part of football, the weight room is the second most important thing. You have to be strong, you have to have endurance, you have to be quick, you have to be fast, and the weight room is where that comes from. A lot of people think it's just all about the weight room, but it's a lot to do with mental as well, making sure you're disciplined. The weight room helps with that. It plays into every part of this game.
What does it mean to you to wear Hug and Hawks across your chest?
I mean, it's just being a part of the Hug Hawks family. Like we take pride in it, and just to show people all the stereotypical stuff about Hug, like that's not true. So we just take pride in it, and we're a family. This is what we love to do.
You got to take pride in it. It's something that you got to embrace. It's something that you got to be grateful to have on, because a lot of people, they think of us as like, oh, we some thugs, we this, we that, but really, reality is just we're more of like a family than thugs or anything like that, and like that's something that we all take to heart, is having that hug thing on our shirt.
Besides just the actual game of football, what kind of impact do you want this program to be on the lives of these kids?
That's what it's all about. It's all about changing lives, impacting somebody's lives. Wins and losses, you know, you can go somewhere else and if you just want to win. But our coaching staff and what we try to do is make sure that in 20 years from now that our kids remember what Coach LeGrone or Coach Lex or Coach Ross or somebody else said that, you know, that helped them in their life when they have a family, or, you know, or when they have kids, and that this carries on not just from the game of football. Because football, if you're the greatest football player ever, you're playing until you're 40. Hopefully you still have around 50 more years of life left. It's stuff after football that we try to stress over here in our program.
How much do you hope that this senior class can help put Hug back on the map?
I think we could put Hug back on the map. We just got to be more disciplined, and it's all in here in our heads. So we got to think more, be more mature, stay out of trouble, and just do what we need to do to put our school back on the map.
We're surprising everybody. Everybody, y'all better watch out for us, because we coming this year. We coming for it. Surprising everybody.
Well, I mean, we talk about family and pride, and when it comes to high school football, and I don't know if you could get any more pride than they have at Hug High School.
They've always had it, and they continue to keep it. They're an explosive team. You never know, and Coach LeGrone does a great job up there. Under situations, sometimes it's not easy, but they'll be ready to play. They'll come out and they'll hit you, and they'll be an exciting football team.
You know, it's really neat to see how much these kids have bought into Coach LeGrone and his program, and the amount of experience he brings in. There's a lot of respect there. You see it when he's around, and I think Carl LeGrone has had such an impact on a lot of these kids that goes beyond football, and you heard that from them in the piece about how much it is about family and how much it is about just developing these kids as men and not just as football players. And at Hug High School, I mean, there are challenges there, and I had a lot of respect for those kids standing up and saying, you know what, there is kind of a perception around what kind of kids go here, but we are respectable kids that show up and work hard, and you know, it's hard not to root for them. And this is a team that a couple years ago, I think, ripped off, 9 or 10 wins. There's a lot of kids that were around then, and they want to bring Hug back up. A 1-7 season doesn't sit well with them, and we'll see how they can improve this year. I imagine they'll be much better than 1-7.
Coming up next on Countdown to Kickoff, it's their swan song in the 4A division. They are headed to the 3As. We'll check in with the North Valley's Panthers next. Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff, brought to you by the Dolan Auto Group and presented by Sonic. It's a program that is making the decision to become more competitive and move to the 3A level. The North Valley's Panthers and their final season in the 4As. Here's North Valley's.
How excited are you just to be out here?
Like, it's unexplainable, just everything running through my body. I'm just so excited just to be back at school, see all my friends, see everybody. I can't even keep it down sometimes.
You know, we've been here 5 days a week at 7 a.m. and just working the entire off season to get better and hopefully compete this year. You know, we didn't win any games last year, but I think we've kind of turned the page and are excited.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
What do you want to try and prove to some people this year?
That we're not the same 0-9 team that we were last year, that we're a lot better and we came to play together as much as a team.
What do you want North Valley's to mean when people think about North Valley's football?
I just want them to think, you know, tough, gritty, you know, that we're hardworking and that we're overachievers. You know, we're not the biggest team, not the fastest team, but I think we're going to be successful despite that.
What does it mean to you to wear North Valley's and Panthers and represent this school?
It means everything to me. Like, I'm not like all these other guys that came up and grew. I actually came from Las Vegas, and they actually brought me in as a family, not like looking at me all weird. So it actually means a lot to me.
I've gone here since my freshman year, and I just wanted, like, since I got here, everyone's like got this really bad attitude sometimes, like, oh, North Valley is just, oh, they're bad, they suck, don't worry about them. But that's changing this year. I want them to fear North Valleys, know what we mean.
You know, they definitely want to prove, you know, their worth and that they belong and that they're not reflective of what their record was last season, especially those seniors. They're hungry for success.
What would it mean to you to be able to put North Valley's football back on the map?
It mean everything. It should make my junior year the best year.
What's it going to take to get that done?
Hard work, not giving up, always keeping them a great mindset, not just lollygagging out on the field, always staying consistent, helping other teammates if they don't know the play, helping them get their blocking, getting their steps, everything.
You know, we've seen this sort of behavior and sort of move in the past with Wooster, and we've seen it with Hug, and we've seen it with Sparks. I don't mind this move for North Valley's to become competitive and get kids back out wanting to play their sports.
You have to build some confidence, and they've been down for a little while, and this is an opportunity for them to regroup, get some kids out, and win some football games. And I think it's a good move too. And you know, hopefully it works out and they can eventually get back up and play in the 4A, because that's where they really want to be. But it's what's good for the kids, and I think this is what's good for the kids.
Well, I think in terms of numbers for the program, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, they've got, I think, 35 kids on the roster this year. The one good news is, of those 35, about 20 of them are seniors. So they do have a lot of seniors. They have a lot of kids that don't want to end their high school career with another losing season. These kids remember that 0-9 from last year and certainly are going to do everything in their power to make sure that doesn't happen again in 2017.
North Valley's opens at Bishop Manogue. They were at Carson week 4, at Reed week 5, and drop into 2018 down to the 3A division. Coming up next on Countdown to Kickoff, who do we think will take home the prize in this league? The answer might surprise you. That's next. As we wrap things up here on Countdown to Kickoff, brought to you by the Dolan Auto Group and presented by Sonic. Guys, High Desert League. Alex, I'll give you the first call on it. Well, who's your pick?
I mean, I can't go against Reed at this point. You know, I do like Dan talking about McQueen, and he's talking about some transfers, and maybe McQueen rises up, but it's hard to pick against Reed until we see them fail, because I know they lost Ernie Howard, but they've got a lot of talented kids back from some teams that have been perennial winners. They're motivated this year more than ever, I think, because of what happened last year and losing out to Damani Ranch. So look out for the Reed Raiders to get back out on top, I think, in the North.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to go along with that, too. I think they got something to prove, and they'll miss Coach Howard, but Coach Amatia is a great coach, and he'll do a great job there. And these kids want to prove it wasn't just coaching, it was players and attitude and hard work. And I think they're on a mission this year, so it'll be interesting. There are some other good teams, but it's interesting.
One other thing to add about Reed, too, that team is always so strong in the trenches. I mean, I don't know what it is, but every year, offensive and defensive line, they've got so many big bodies. When I was out there again this year, they're pretty loaded up there as well.
A lot of former Wolfpack football players on that coaching staff, and a lot of them with NFL experience, including Jerome Johnson and Del Bates, who both played for the Rams and the Cowboys. Are going to get coached very well again over at Reed. The team that nobody's respecting right now is Reno. This is a 10-win team from last year with a brilliant coach in Dan Avancino and maybe the best player in the North in Brandon Cajo. So I don't know why there isn't any love for the Reno Huskies. I'll throw them a little love, but if I had to pick today, I would say I would probably still pick Reed to win that division. That'll do it for us tonight here on Countdown to Kickoff, preview of the High Desert League. For Alex Margulies, I'm Brian Samudio. Mike Rippey joining us this week as well. 1 week from tonight, we will preview the Sierra League here at Damani Ranch High School. See you next week.
Thank you for watching Dolan Auto Group's Countdown to Kickoff, presented by Sonic, America's Drive-In, your local high school sports on My 21 TV.